I've been playing Elden Ring for quite some time, and I have quite a bit to say about it. It's mostly good, to be honest. This game is great. It's one of the most perfect experiences I've had in a while. This game actually did it, and it laughs at modern gaming by doing it right in front of everyone. They proved that you can just make a game and make money in the modern market without all of the microtransactions and paid stores and in the way of it. There's so much clutter in game development these days, and they usually don't give you the full product. This game has a lot of value in it. We buy it and we play it. Outside of the music DLC, which really doesn't affect the game at all, there is nothing. You just get a lot of value for your money, and it's nice to see for once. Someone actually just make a game, with pure passion, and you could definitely tell they put a lot of work into this one because there's so much going on, and we'll get into that. But anyway, so what about the game is so good? Well, if you're a Dark Souls fan, literally everything about this game screams at you as good or excellent. Of course, this game has some hurdles, and it isn't perfect, especially for people that prefer the classic Souls experience like Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. However, it has a nice balance. I am 130 hours in as of preparing this video, and I still haven't gotten tired of the game or even beat it yet. I'm trying to 100% the game, which is surprising considering my retention rate for RPGs is usually about 20 to 30 hours. This game manages to keep me interested beyond my usual retention rate on video games. That says something. It says a lot, actually. I mean, a lot of people, typically they lose interest in games if it goes on for too long or it feels like it drags on. The thing is, this game manages to keep you interested even 100 plus hours into it. That's a lot. There's a lot of value. The last game that did that actually to me, that exceeded my usual retention rate for games, which is about 30 hours, it was The Witcher 3. This game really just takes you into the zone and sucks you into its world, much like Witcher did. There's a lot of value and a lot to talk about, so let's actually talk about why. There's a lot. Honestly, I'm gonna really enjoy making this one because Elden Ring is something else, truly. Elden Ring has a vast open world, and it's so beautiful that I noticed throughout my hours of playing, I've been caught just exploring and taking in the sights. The game has some really beautiful designs, and you can see so much care to detail in the world. And you could definitely tell they took their time. Everything you see, especially introductions into new areas, the intro segments are like paintings, and they're so beautiful throughout the entire, it's just such an experience to just walk into a new place and see everything. It almost looks like a canvas. It's amazing, the graphics. And usually games only tend to be able to do this at least once or twice, usually with the beginning of the game, but for some reason FromSoftware really managed to capture that effect every single time you go into a new area. It really, and what's even more is they managed to make the zone they managed to actually blend the zones together in a sensible manner. Nothing looks like it doesn't fit. Although there is some issues they use teleportation stuff in some places that don't feel like they fit. But the point is, they did a really good segmenting the zones out. And also the dungeons you find around, you could somewhat see vaguely on the map, like cave icons, but mostly you have to look for hints around the area, such as statues pointing vaguely in a direction to catacombs or tombs. Once you find the caves, catacombs, or tombs, you'll notice those areas feel more like the classic Souls experience, like the linear dungeons. This is also true for major locations like castles throughout the world that I've noticed. Honestly, though, the open world just added to the game, because in other Souls-like games, it was more constricted and linear, but still kind of open and connected, like Dark Souls 1. But this one has a huge factor in the fact that, and it's what it sets it apart from the others, because it just has such a larger, open, connected space that you could go to and explore, and it feels like two different games. They even have an underground zone on top of the actual zone, which is insane to me. There is somewhat vague sense of direction, which makes you find things organically rather than following a guidance system, like in Dead Space, the line across the floor, or in Witcher, the hunt vision, or whatever it's called, or just any modern game. The trend that picked up in a lot of major games that basically say, hey, don't think, brain, just follow the line. But I'm tired of that, and it's really nice to see that in a modern game like Elden Ring, it just give you the big world and basically say, okay, go find things and explore. I can't really put into words how much I actually appreciate that. and it respects your intelligence, frankly. You actually have to use landmarks and think about things, especially before they updated the game, which was nice for them to add names next to like graces, because around the world you find graces, like bonfires basically. But you just go out there and find stuff and explore. It's the sense of discovery. You don't need that checklist, and you just look around and enjoy the moment of discovery. Through this only lasts for the first playthrough, and that feeling only lasts through that first playthrough. And it just seems the right way to make an open world game to me. And I'm so happy FromSoft didn't add all the modern features and ruin the immersion, because that's one word to describe the game. They really captured immersion. Like, I was captivated by this game. It's crazy. Just take your time and explore playing this one, because you'll find that if you just allow your brain to kind of like somewhat turn off and just absorb the area and just kind of relax and just... I know it's funny I say to use the words relax when it comes to a FromSoft game, but it actually is kind of relaxing to play when you're just exploring and listening to the audio and the music. And the music in this game is fantastic. Like, I actually haven't played a game recently that has better music than this, outside of like the one that I can remember is I played Nier Automata back in 2017. That really had great music, and this one kind of is up to that level. It's just really good, especially the boss themes. But the sheer scale of the open world is quite impressive, and I can express enough for hours and hours. I was still finding new stuff, and I'm not sure if the magic will be the same for the second or third playthrough. I'd imagine not, and it's not all good though, and that's why we're gonna get into that right now. A lot of the catacombs and caves you stumble upon will at first feel unique experiences, and like I said, closer to the older Souls experience games. They're very linear, like the caves especially. However, you'll notice throughout playing the game, from time to time again, you run into the same dungeon layout. Like, literally, it'll be down to the same jumps, the same elevator, the same hallways. It's very recycled. This was one of the major shortcomings throughout the world, and after a while, you'll start to even stop looking for them, or you'll feel it like a chore. This is especially true for your second playthrough. If you're still in your first playthrough, you might actually find you just want to explore everything, see what items are in. But unfortunately, there's an issue with that as well. So we're going to talk about items and rewards now. It's the items that you find and rewards you find in the caves and dungeons that will eventually seem repetitive to you. But depending on your build, a lot of the rewards you'll find will either be irrelevant to your build or underwhelming. Or you'll be lucky to find that one really rewarding reward, and you'll be like, oh crap, I'm glad I came here. I'm glad I spent that stone key. Most of the caves are kind of allocated away, or pushed away, or like locked out with stone keys. Stone keys you use to basically open up these optional secret dungeons. You usually have high rewards beyond those keys. Some take 2, some take 1. Now, this is less true in regards to the feeling of underwhelming or lackluster in the first playthrough. The magic of discovery for your first time, like I just said a bit ago, is special, and everything you feel is unique. You'll find even in your first experience in each area, the reward may disappoint you. On your first character build, you may find a great sword that looks like very awesome and you may want to use, but unfortunately you focus on spells, and the reverse is true. You focus on strength and melee weapons, and you find a cool spells you want to try. But this is also, in a way, kind of a double-edged sword. In your first playthrough, you'll be irritated, like, I want to use those spells. And considering how big and vast this world is and how long it'll probably take you to beat it, you might not be even motivated to play through again. But if you do, in a way, you'll be motivated to play through again a second time or a third time because of these cool spells or that cool great sword. The good news is, though, you can respec your character, and it's quite plentiful in this game if you look around and know where to look. And there's lots of guides and wikis out there if you're like really just want to respec and find the first one. But I can't help but think that they put so many respecs in this game to kind of tend to that problem of finding things in the world, considering how big it is. And they probably thought in their mind most people would only play through the game once. And they were probably like, well, yeah, we gotta, because there's a lot more ways to respec in this game than there are versus other Souls games that I've played personally. Anyway, I've played Dark Souls 1, 2, and I've played a little bit of Demon Souls and a little bit of Bloodborne. But I have never finished Bloodborne or Demon Souls, but I did beat Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. So I've played some FromSoft games before, and I could definitely say you can respec a lot more in Elden Ring versus Dark Souls 2 or 1. At least that's what I've noticed. Also, a lot of rare items throughout the world, even outside of dungeons, sometimes will feel a bit underwhelming. I noticed this. And I'll pop like a video from another YouTuber, I'll credit him, that shows this very plentifully. Because like you'll be... By the way, the video that I'm showing is kind of a joke. It's over exaggerating the point. But the point is, you find a lot of flowers and like mushrooms and stuff over top of the rarest, hardest to get places, and that's the point I'm trying to drive home here. All right, back to the video. Oh, by the way, go be sure to check out this guy's channel. Obviously, I did not make this particular part of the video. This is his footage. This is his video he worked on. I have his name on screen, and also link his channel in the description. Be sure to check him out. Exploring, you'll see some really rare items around the world, and it'll turn out to be a flower or a mushroom, and you'll wonder why you even bothered, and may even feel like you've been tricked. The good news is you'll remember it being less worth it in the later playthroughs, I guess. But there are a lot of rare colored items that are mostly probably used for crafting. But a lot of people won't even use crafting in this game, although it is encouraged to take a look at that system. To be honest, I didn't really dabble too much into it. I guess that's kind of why these rewards kind of disappointed me, because there's a lot of rare flowers and like items that I found that I had no real use for, unfortunately. And now that is true for all Souls games. But it's more of an issue in Elden Ring due to the fact that it's so vast and open world. This game is huge, and the amount of content recycled in these dungeons is underwhelming. Rewards is a huge issue, and it becomes a good bit of the content you'll find in the playthrough. Now let's discuss things about combat and gameplay. And real quick before we continue, I will say that like maybe it's less of an issue for you, but it might even be a good thing, because in the second playthrough you'll know what is less worth it. But anyway, let's move on. The Souls games community often complain that it's too hard or too easy. However, to be honest, Elden Ring is hard, but yes, but it is also one of the easier games in the family, and this isn't because of the health or damage output or design of the bosses even. In fact, the bosses in this game, which we will get touched in a minute, are quite a lot harder and faster than other games. They added a lot of quality of life features, like the stakes of Marika, I think it's called, Marika. This is one addition solved one of the major issues, in my opinion, with Souls games, or especially with the inconvenience. This is, of course, the walk back after each boss, or wipe, or just walk back from a difficult area. I've always didn't really enjoy that experience after losing to a boss, and you know, it is true this is a bit of a hand-holding feature, I'll admit, but the quality of life here is huge and really helps you just get right back into the action. I mean, I've played Dark Souls 1 and 2, like I mentioned, and soon I'll play 3 probably after I beat Elden Ring. And I'll say my biggest issue with this game was the run back to the bosses. Of all the games, I've never enjoyed it. Them adding this made me enjoy the game so much more, and it doesn't affect the difficulty because the game is still quite challenging, especially later in the game. And on certain bosses, this feature allows you to have less I want to quit moments, and more importantly helps new and veteran players alike enjoy the game more and more often. No one really, at least I think, I might be wrong here, enjoys running about countless times, adding sometimes up to 15 minutes of time before each attempt of the boss before you can jump right back into the action. This causes people to want to quit the game. So overall, I think it's a good feature and a welcoming one in my eyes, and hopefully you like it as well. But I guess I can understand if you don't. But to be honest, it's just a feature that's trying to allow you to have fun more often, so I don't really see why anyone would really hate it. But on top of this, as we spoke about in the open world segment before, at least I hinted towards it, I think, they gave us a horse to summon named Torrent. Torrent is a very mobile and has the double jump, which causes how we fight certain bosses and move around in certain areas of the game. It allows us to, it's a different approach basically to the situation. However, Torrent is not usable in most enclosed areas, just caves, catacombs, tombs, and castles, especially major story relevant areas. Personally, I didn't enjoy the content or combat with Torrent, and I choose to simply use it as a means of transportation. It's really up to you if you want to use it or not, and that's awesome. It's just a bonus. I do appreciate the Torrent though, however, I just think it adds positivity to the game overall, and if you hate it, you just don't have to use it. You could just use it as transportation. And also, we can jump. I should mention that. They actually added a dedicated jump button in this game versus the just run and jump you could do in previous Souls games. But yeah, Elden Ring has a dedicated jump feature. You don't want to miss that. And this also adds to the combat. A lot of people thought it was just jump and didn't really do anything, but it turns out you actually have immunity frames with jump, and actually more immunity frames than you do with rolling. And this is quite honestly quite useful because you can jump over spells or sweeping attacks from bosses if you know how to time it. And depending on the circumstance, it might even be better to do that versus rolling. just kind of gauge the situation. Obviously, if someone's coming down on a horizontal vertical, you don't want to jump because you'll just be an easy target. But yeah, I want to touch more on Torrent though. I kind of brushed over that. This was kind of off script a little bit, but however, Torrent, as I did say, makes an excellent source of transportation. It is overall an unfortunate underutilized asset to the game, I think. What I mean by this is I simply think they didn't have a lot of extra content or, I guess, design time towards the horse. You simply just get the horse and you ride it and you jump with it and you heal it with some items you later obtain through merchants or just through crafting. This is boring overall, and I do like Torrent, which is why I think they should have added more flavor in features, abilities, cosmetics, I don't know, a talent system even for them, the ability to just do anything else. It's good to give. I just don't see. I don't really have an answer here. I don't really know what they could do as far as making it more in depth. But it would have been cool if you could actually see the horse kind of grow with you as you went. Maybe you could dedicate runes towards Torrent. That would have been cool. It would have been nice to have Torrent be more of an asset towards you rather than just traveling around. But I guess that's enough, because to be honest, the world's so balanced, so vast, it's nice to have a taxi service basically. But yeah, moving on. Alright, as I stated a bit ago, I wanted to speak about how challenging bosses have become, in some cases easier. Souls games usually have choreographed attacks and patterns to follow, sometimes delayed, sometimes fast. This is still true, but I'll get into in a moment what has changed there. And also, very rarely bosses will be overwhelmingly fast or agile, and usually indicated in a major boss, which resulted in a very over-the-top, sometimes cinematic experience in Souls games. I'm talking about, like, in general, out of all Souls-like games. Like, sometimes bosses that look very over-the-top, like they do flips and shit, or have, like, crazy special abilities, usually indicated a major boss. But, however, in Elden Ring, there isn't really a lot of variety in the type of boss. There is some, mind you, and but everything is still choreographed too. You could still learn patterns. However, almost all the bosses apparently took gymnastic lessons because, as stated above, some bosses will be super fast and agile or over the top doing flips and shit. However, in Elden Ring, 80% of the bosses are pretty much like that. At least I found personally. Again, I haven't beat it yet. I'm trying to do everything, trying to 100% the game. So I haven't gotten to the very end yet. Maybe there's more changes there. But from what I heard, most of the games, or most of the bosses, and from what I've heard from my friends, like the bosses that they have fought that I haven't fought yet, it seems a bit repetitive, to be honest. If every boss is out to just pummel you to the ground and catch you panic rolling, or rolling so much from an onslaught that you run out of endurance or stamina. This isn't per se a problem, however. It's just sad to see a lack of variety. At least this is what I noticed while playing. This isn't every boss, like I mentioned. I did say 80%, as stated earlier. I haven't beat the game yet, as I said, but I will say that from what I've seen, I recommend you basically get ready to react fast. I'd recommend getting a lot of endurance or vigor, one or the other, because you're going to need more rolling or blocking potential if you don't get vigor, or maybe just a combination of both. Overall, again, like I said, I still think it's nice and fine. I think it's a nice balance because, I mean, these kind of games are made to challenge you, so it's nice to see the challenge. It's definitely more challenging. I find this game more difficult personally than Dark Souls 2 and 1. And after dying 20 times at the boss and finally seeing it fade away after getting the runes, it still captures the same feeling, and that's a good thing. It's still there, the magic, right? Especially during your first playthrough. And now, unfortunately, there is some bad here depending on how you look at it. Especially with, like, dungeon and recycled content. A lot of the bosses in this game are reused. This is true for all Souls games, and I understand game developers just reuse assets. But this could be a huge issue depending on who you are, or especially if you're new to FromSoft games. You might just be kind of disappointed that you went to this cave that also looks the same as the other caves you went to, and then you see two versions of the same boss. Like, for example, there'll be some bosses even reuse old animations, like the Asylum Demon, the good old Asylum Demon, which is basically the Eld Tree avatars, which are those tree guys with big hammers throughout the world at each of the mini trees in the Elden Ring. This isn't a huge issue, and again, developers always reuse assets. It saves time on crunch and everything. And the point here is you'll notice it throughout Elden Ring quite often. So don't be surprised if you suddenly see something that you recognize from another game being reused, or if you've already fought that boss and now there's 3 of them attacking you. It will happen. you will be revisited by plenty of the bosses you fight in Elden Ring, and sometimes even, like I said, fight 2 or 3 of them. This is somewhat lazy and repetitive, or even in your first playthrough, or sorry, second playthrough. But the good news is they are mostly hidden. A lot of the dub bosses they do reuse, more of like a challenge-oriented thing, or kind of hidden on the side dungeons in the caves or tombs. Most of the major bosses, this is important. I want you to make this. Don't want you to mishear me. Most of the major bosses are very unique to themselves, and none of them are really recycled. Like Rodan, for example. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically, and this is definitely not a spoiler-free review, but he's very unique. He has a lot of homages even to Monster Hunter. There's a lot of things going on in that fight, and that's cool that they still have, like, I think someone else told me there was about 9, maybe 10 truly unique. Maybe there's 12. I don't know. I think it was 10. I think there's 10 unique, truly unique bosses to themselves in this game, and a lot of others are recycled or reused or repurposed. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to talk about that. Overall, I still enjoyed fighting the bosses and revisiting older bosses and those side optional dungeons, which definitely are optional, by the way. A lot of things in Elden Ring is optional. So while you're exploring, if you don't feel like you want to do the caves, just know that, like, you're really only missing out on challenges like that they pit against you fighting 2 or 3 of the same thing you've already fought before, and sometimes weapons that are referencing the other games. Like, for example, the giant club, which is, like, I think a homage from Dark Souls 1. I think it's a reference, because obviously that's a really popular weapon back then. But moving on. And a quick little segment I want to talk about, because I can't go through a review of Elden Ring without mentioning it, especially during the launch week. There was a lot of performance issues, especially in certain areas, it would dip down to like below 15 FPS. But it's definitely worth pointing out. It still has a little bit of issues, but most of it seems to have been fixed. This, I will also say, that only really affected PC, not so much the consoles. Which is why a lot of people, like when they first started playing it, when it first came out in the first week and back in February, late February, they ended up returning their PC version and playing on PlayStation. But I couldn't go through a review of Elden Ring without mentioning this. It is a problem, and it still kind of is a problem. But I think it's more playable now. I think most of at least for me, has been fixed. But I do feel like my hardware should get more out of what I have, because I play the game mostly with like 40 FPS, sometimes lower than 30 while I'm fighting, but it usually hovers around 45, 50. But anyway, I just wanted to throw this segment in real quick just to mention that is a problem and to be aware of it. Anyway, I guess that's it. Elden Ring is an amazing game, and it's a no bullshit package, and that's great. It's been so many years, to my knowledge, since we've had a no bullshit game release, at least to my knowledge. We got to what we expected, and even in some eyes, I'd imagine we got more than what we expected. We got a game, and we bought a game, and we can play a game, and nothing gets in the way of that, and that's freaking lovely. I hope a lot of other companies actually learn from the success and realize this is what the gamers want. We just want a game to play. We want to play a game we bought, not play a service or wait for like patches of the game for chunks. That we don't pay for chunks. We pay of the game. We pay for the dang game. We don't want to make payment plans for our freaking video games. It's nice to see that this is a no bullshit package. There's no store. There's no microtransactions. There's nothing like that. It's just, you just get it. It's great, honestly. Honestly, go out and support this game. Even if you don't like Souls game, try it out. Give it a shot. I think Elden Ring is a good starting point, honestly, in the FromSoft games, because, frankly, the Souls games are more unforgiving because they don't have a lot of the quality of life features like the statues and maracas and stuff like that. Maybe Bloodborne does, I don't know. But I do know that Dark Souls 1 and 2 especially don't. Although Dark Souls 2 does have some quality of life features, but I don't want to ruin that anyway, and this isn't a Dark Souls 2 review. But, to be honest, yeah, just go out and support this developer, and I promise you'll enjoy it, especially if you just be patient with it. And if it's not for you, you can always return it. But it's just, honestly, I think they deserve the money just because of how much passionate time went into this. It's insane how much game we have here. I think it feels like 3 games. This feels like Dark Souls 4 and 5 in one, maybe even 6, depending on like, cause like it's just nuts. I can talk about this thing for a while, to be honest, but I'd probably be repeating myself and rambling. But honestly, yeah, go on and play this masterpiece. To be honest, it's because I do think it's a masterpiece. Maybe a little bit of a flawed one, but I think it's great. And there probably will be copies because game companies like tend to try to go on trends. And I can tell you right now, Elden Ring is going to be the new trend. And a lot of open world focused games, we're probably going to try to see a lot of copycats, basically. And I think, well, honestly, kind of interested to see how that goes. But get ready for that, because that's going to happen. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you liked it, and also, more importantly, comment below, because I would love to see how you enjoyed the game or what you think of the game. And also, I would like to know what you found that I might not have found. Maybe describe something. I don't know. Just start some conversations. Start talking, and I'll look out for them and I'll reply. But yeah, that's it. Take care, everyone, and thanks for watching.